Good morning. Welcome back to Project Camp. I'm Eric, and I like to share my day-to-day up here in the Canadian woods with you guys as I work on things and get things done. I've been at it. It's pretty good this morning. It's going to be pretty hot later today, and I have a lot to get done because I have to go home tomorrow, and I doubt I'm going to be back much this fall. So have to get the camper basically ready to pull out. So we need to do the hitch movement because it was maladjusted for my truck, and a bunch of other odds and ends, and we'll bring you along. I do treasure my morning walks down to the river, so bring you guys along. This is the scenery. The field across is I guess they must have had wheat in that this year. It looks like it's been harvested, and then looks like beans up close to us. And yeah, there's no houses over there. It's just us. And here we are. Just beautiful morning. There's a few mosquitoes left, but not much. The bug season's over now. First week I've been up where the bug season is over, so they were brutal this year. So, yeah, just beautiful. Yesterday we did the solar panels on the roof of the camper. I got those fastened down with Sikaflex and took the tractor out. I did a bunch of reshaping of our culvert so I can get the trailer out. It is a 32-foot trailer, and it's a very sharp turn coming out. Last fall I had a pretty major problem where one of the duals ended up collapsing the edge of the ditch and going down and giving a key wrench to the side of the truck. So this year I'm not going to have that again. We've done some mods and fixed the culvert, and yeah, I even managed to clean the back of the camper a little bit yesterday with my leftover water, and I got a hell of a mess everywhere. But kind of mess that's not mine there, that shanty that looks like hell, but ignore that and focus on my huge mess. The Holzforma saw did let me down yesterday, first time ever. It was an O-start, the 366. So I actually, the only thing it can be is ignition at this point. I did try some fuel, so I got to check it out. I'm not even going to do it here today. We'll do this hitch. Oh, that was a fight. Yeah. Now can we pivot yet? Alright, we want that hole down to that one. I think that'll give us enough clearance of the box sides of the truck so we don't have an incident like last year if we end up in the rhubarb. Well, one way to find out. If it comes down, then so be it. As long as it doesn't come down on anything vital. One thing you learn as a mechanic, move your air line. After the first time you chop your air line, you sometimes don't learn. After the first time you chop a torch hose, then you don't make that mistake again. Big heavy things like to come down. Let's see if we can get it down in a controlled manner. It's stuck enough, I think we can. It's just I can't get enough height to work in here. I'm hunched over, so I can't get any power. I already got a piss poor back as it is. Ooh, it does move a little easier than I wanted. We can move. I didn't think that was gonna work. It does. We can get that one in right there. That's where I want it to go. How handy is that? See if we can get the other side in, and then we can just lever the back down. Painless. Good. I'm sure that's the way they intended it. Be able to move this without having a conflagration of the job. I should just stick some nuts on the backside there. All right, that is nearly golden. Let's go back. There, we win. That went way better than I expected. Oh yeah, we're golden. Ow, gravel hard on the knees. That could have been an all-day affair. Not bad for first thing in the morning. Not bad. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, we're just perfectly lined up. We're almost perfectly lined up. That'll give us another inch on the box, plus the 1.5 I already gave us by raising the 5th wheel hitch up. So that should give us enough clearance to the box side. It was way too tight before. And I figured, you're only going 1 kilometer, no big deal. Yeah, it was a big deal, and it bit me right square in the ass. It was a very bad day. But I don't mind making mistakes in my life. A little piece of wisdom from me. Take it for what it's worth. I don't mind making mistakes in my life at all. But I hate making the same mistake twice. I refuse to accept myself making the same mistake twice. I find that just basically unforgivable. And I should have learned and should have known better. I also have one other motto that has served me well in my daytime career very much. And that is, don't let perfect stand in the way of better. If you can do something, like the things we do for the world on the MKME Lab channel, they're unfinished projects. They're, who knows of their value, but they're better than not sharing them. Sharing them out with the world is better than not. Same with if you're trying to do like fleet improvements, what I do at my day job. They're multi-million-dollar things. And sometimes people get frozen with paralysis, not wanting to move and not wanting to go forward because they're not sure whether it's right or whether it's the whole solution. Don't let perfect stand in the way of better. Moving and correcting is always better than not moving at all. Just get up and go, like things like this. You saw me just dive in with a little bit of forethought. Obviously, you have to have a little bit of a brain in your head for most things, but just get in there and start. And then adjust as you go, preferably before things go wrong. And if you do make a mistake, try to only make it once, and you'll be golden. Okay, next task for today is to get the cooling system on this B414 ready for winter. What I did is I put some rad flush in it yesterday. I've got new coolant and deionized water here, but I have a thermostat, and I'm thinking I would like to change that thermostat if possible, because this thing is running cold all the time, and I have a sneaky feeling that sucker's stuck open. just looking to see how much of a task it is, whether it's something we want to break into today or not. And I think it is. I brought gasket maker up, so it's probably as good a time as any to just get it done. It looks pretty straightforward. So here it is. This will be our stat housing here, I would expect. And yeah, just a few bolts, and you can see it's got a homemade gasket in there. I couldn't get a gasket for it, so we'll have to make one. And seems pretty straightforward. This may look a little bit daunting to some people, but trust me, it isn't. This is our diesel our high side pressure pump for the diesel, and this is a drain on the block for the coolant. Back in the day, everything was kind of designed to be serviced, so we not only have a beautiful petcock on the block, we also have one right at the bottom of the rad, designed to be used. So with any luck, this should open, but interesting. I'm gonna have to, she is stuck. I'm gonna have to work with that. Give me a minute. Little bit of a pull, but just a end of a wrench, and we're draining. It's a slow drain, but let's pop the cap and see if that gets faster. Nope. She's gonna take a while, but let's see if we can clean out that hole a little bit. A little bit of jabby with the screwdriver, and out she comes. That's actually really good looking coolant. This tractor has surprised me over and over again. It was definitely neglected, but geez, it doesn't have a lot of runtime on a lot of things. It is in really, really good shape. Better now that I've started working on it. So we're gonna let that drain. There's nothing to this. Let it drain, and either we're gonna refill it or we're gonna change that thermostat and refill it. These original hose clamps, be nice to them, because there's nothing as good as them. Just unscrews like nothing. No corrosion, no problem. I don't know what they made all this old steel before it was recycled 10 times, or I don't know what's different about it, but man, oh man, no corrosion. Like, that's been out in the elements for decades and decades and decades, and off it comes no problem. Well, the hose is gonna fight, but the clamp didn't. We technically don't need this hose off. We can leave it on if we have to. No problem. Okay, either that's not where the thermostat lives. I don't have one. I'm thinking that's not. They don't put it in the lower hose. Where the heck do they put it? What's going on here? Is it up inside? Oh, I feel you. What? Are you kidding me? Oh man, I think this was a whole lot easier than what I thought it was. I think it's through the top, through the rad hose. It is. Oh wow, I should have definitely checked the manual. Look at that. That's a thing of beauty. Oh, we didn't wreck our gasket. We'll put a little bit of sealant on there. This thing just surprises me every step of the way. I would not have thought that. I've seen this, GM did it in, I think it was the 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder, where it was right below the rad cap and you just pulled it up. And it was genius, brilliant idea. Come on. It's really that easy to change a thermostat on this thing. No bolts required. One hose clamp, one clamp. Well, it's a little easier to work on it. We can take it to the bench. I love this tractor. This thing just surprises me every step of the way. There's some rust in here and goobers, and that looks like it's been in there a while, so it's good. One thing I don't love is this GoPro. Third battery already this morning. This is crazy. But I sure as hell love this tractor. This is brilliant. Every time I turn around, I find something else that's just designed to be serviced. That is just awesome. Makes me so happy. Happy I bought it too. But that is definitely an old school thermostat. It does seem to be functional though. It's closed. I haven't seen made in England. Wonder how long that one's been in there. Did I get the right size? Sure did. Lovely. Nothing to this job, folks. As easy as it can be. Well, it literally is as easy as it can be. Springy side down. Boink. In we go. And then we just sort of stuff her on in there. What a good, even the spring is a good design. Stick both in and this should just snap right in, and it does. That is a thing of beauty. That isn't quite into home. Did I put it in backwards? I did. There's an upside down and a right side up to the spring. This way it's pushing. That's right. I don't think you can have it the other way. Oh, you can too. I would think the other way is the right way though. This makes no sense because then it allows it. No, I had it right. That way makes no sense. Super easy to take in and out though. Wear your safety squints. It'll get you in the eyeball. I wonder if this one's just got a little tiny bit more ridge than the original. Yeah, it does. Just have to coax it. Yeah, it does too. And then the spring doesn't want to sit quite in place because it's just a good fit, that's all. I just gotta help it. Like so. Like so. That's it. She's home, not going anywhere. Good seal. What a good system. I'm just gonna go ahead, dry this up, put a little bit of sealant on it just in case. Because the gasket remained with the block, or the head I should say, and nothing to it. Made in England. You can go back to England. So we'll use a little bit of the black RTV sealant, nothing to it, and we'll put a little smear around it. To be honest, it's completely unnecessary. The gasket is fine, but it just makes me feel a little better. If there's just little micro pores of leaks, it'll help seal it up. See if we can snake it in there. We got a little goobers on it, and then we got to get our rad hose on first, and then we can snake things up into place. Ouch! Ouchie, that hurt. That was not smart. Lovely. Okay, we'll close our tap back off, and that'll be that. Lovely. Okay, let's see what we get out of this one. I'm gonna drain right down on our nice new starter, but so be it. There we go. We'll drain the block right down, and then behind the thermostat will be empty. That will get all the goobers out of it. We'll take the coolant for recycle, which now I have some diesel oil mixed in for them, and nothing to it. We'll just let that drain. That is a thing of beauty. So easy, like 2 seconds and we're draining. On a newer car, well, newer car, that's simply not possible unless you knock a frost plug out, or a core plug as you should call them, or take block heater out, or get creative. There's just no petcocks on new stuff. It's too bad. Love it. So simple. That's shielding messed up around the fan in there too, but the rad's in great shape. I gave it a blast with a black trim clad. We'll start putting coolant in at a mix of 50-50. This is concentrate non-premix, diesel formulation, just from good old TSE. I don't know that there's really that much difference between the diesel formulation and the gas, but whatever, we got the right stuff. Always trim that silly piece of tin foil off. Don't punch it in or you'll end up chasing that thing down inside an engine or down inside of a cooling system. Ask me how I know. Gurgly gurgly. Today we have a treat especial for this monster. We have something I would normally never buy. We have actual deionized water bought by someone at the local Canadian Tire. And now we're going to use it. That is the proper thing to be using here, just nobody does it. And honestly, the price they charge for this stuff, get yourself a water distiller. I have a countertop distiller. Deionized water, distilled water, interchangeable. But you just don't want tap water if you can help it. But honestly, most vehicles running around out there, whether the people know it or not, have tap water in them. The shops that do rad fleshes, yeah, I've never seen one that used deionized water to refill. They should have, but it's not what happens. But anyway, this girl, she's getting the good stuff. And then we got to run it because we got 2 gallons in and a whole lot more than that out because we've got an airlock and our block is not filling from the bottom up. It'll take ages, so we need to get as much as we can in there, run it, get the thermostat to open, refill, and we'll be good to go. This thing will be rock on. I put this new seat on last trip up, and I took the measurements for these handles that I'm missing for the 3-point hitch and the draft lever. I did them wrong. I printed two, one without threads, one with, and the one with is too big now, and the previous was too small. I find it hard to believe that these would be metric, but anyway, what I'm going to do, these fit plenty tight enough. I'm just going to go ahead and glue them on. These were printed on my resin printer out of water-soluble resin, so they're solid all the way through and cured in the sunlight and my curing station. And there we go. These things are crazy expensive to buy these handles. These will be good enough. I don't use these levers anyway. Certainly not the draft, only the 3-point hitch. So yeah. Good old RTV will take up the slack. It's not ideal, but it'll work. Good enough for a bush tractor. Good. Yeah, those will be fine. This one never needs to, actually this one never needs to move. This one will be the one that moves. I'm going to put a stopper on both sides because this is where I want the draft to stay. And then, yeah, 3-point works fine. Lovely. Well, that's it for today. Went and got the game cams, and we'll get a quick look at all the critters that we caught on there. I'll get you guys some more outdoors footage as soon as I get back outside. Cheers, guys.